All right. Okay, you guys, we are recording. Hello, hello, good evening. For those of you guys that I haven't met yet, my name is Ashley Walmer, and I am so excited to be here with you guys tonight. We did open this up to all of Emrys, so if you're not a part of my team, I am so excited that you guys are here, and hopefully someday we can meet and get to know each other. So I have been doing just a ton of self-reflection over the last I feel like it started in October. Once I realized that we weren't just walking into a new year, but we were walking into a new decade, that just really hit me. And it was really fun the last week of 2019 of just looking back at, normally I look back at like every month from that year and really take some time to celebrate maybe my favorite moments from each month. And what I did this past year is I looked back through the last 10 years. And you guys, I was just telling Aspen about this the other day. I started this past decade of 2010 going through a divorce and being a single mom, and I'm not going to cry tonight, being a single mom and really getting involved in this industry. I had kind of dabbled with it, but it was 2010 that I had met Aspen, and that everything in my life seemed to be falling apart and also falling into place. And it was just really interesting for me to look back through the last 10 years of my life and where I am now. And in some ways, you guys, like I think when I hit 30 in there, I'm 36 now. I just had a birthday 2 months ago. But when I hit 30, I had a little bit of like a midlife crisis. I had gone through a divorce. I was a single mom. I wasn't where I wanted to be in my career. And I kind of started to feel sad about those things. But you guys, like, I also recognize that if I want to get further and if I want to be in a different place, when I'm 40, when I wake up on my 40th birthday, I have to do something different. And I'm not victim to my circumstances, to things that have happened to me. I get a choice every single day. And so there's a couple activities I wanted to do with you guys tonight. I hope you have a pen and paper or something to take notes on, because this is going to be a working kind of Zoom, an activity Zoom, where I'm going to lead you through some different questions, some exercises, and I'm going to do my absolute best as I'm talking to type some of the questions in the chat. So if you need to see them again, you can. I'm going to play some music so you guys can get in headspace. And I'm also going to tell you that we're not going to have time for you to answer every single question in its entirety. So make sure you guys are writing down what I'm saying. I'd also be happy to afterwards give these notes to you guys, so that way if there was something that you missed, you're able to go through it. But this is a Zoom for you. This is a space for you to just be and reflect, get excited, work through some things, and then it's recorded too. So if you have people on your team coming down in later, they're always able to refer back to this, all right? So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with mindset. And for me, you guys, mindset is something that is so important. You've got to protect it, right? And so when something is so important, with the things that are going on in your head, you have to prioritize it. You have to make time for it. You have to retrain your brain to think certain things, to say certain things. And you have to have it, or I should say it all starts with gratitude. If you don't have gratitude for where you're at, it's going to be really hard for you to prioritize your mindset, and it's going to be really hard for you to retrain your brain. So we're going to work through some things that deal with both of those. And I grew up in a family where, I said this to a few people last night that were with me, where my mom always said, you're either growing or you're dying, Ash. You're either moving forward or you're backsliding. There's no staying the same. Okay, so think through that in your faith. You're either growing closer to the Lord or you're backsliding. You're either growing closer in your relationships or you're backsliding. You're either growing in your business or you're moving backwards. There's no staying still. There's no stagnant, right? And so that's always been something that stayed with me when I get into a comfort zone, or I get in a place where I'm like, okay, things are just kind of going, right? Where I am stagnant or in a funk. I recognize very quickly now, wow, I'm not staying still. I'm not comfortable. I'm not stagnant. I'm actually backsliding. I'm moving backwards. It's time to put one foot in front of the other and get to work and move forward, whether it's in my marriage, maybe it's intentionally being a better mom in certain areas. Maybe it's in my business. Maybe it's in getting my butt back to church and getting in a Bible study, whatever it is. When I get into those moments, I start recognizing that. All right. So that's what I want you guys to start doing in all areas of your life, because we are whole and complete people, right? Okay. So let's talk through just some statistics. So some of you guys have probably heard that people who write down their goals have an over 80% higher success rate of achieving them. Okay, so that's what we're going to do tonight. And it takes 21 days to create a habit and 90 days to create a lifestyle. How awesome is that, to think that we're all getting ready to go on this Renew 180 challenge? How many of you right now want a completely different habit and lifestyle for you? You want to do a complete 180 from where you are right now. Maybe it's not your weight loss. Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe it's financially. I know for me, it's all areas of my life. I want to get to 90 days from right now and be able to look back and say, I am on a completely different path, one that I am 100% on board with and moving forward. So anytime that I'm starting to think through this, I talked a little bit about priorities, prioritizing it, right? So many times life comes at you, your business comes at you. Are you letting your phone dictate your calendar? Leaders on here, how many of you feel busy, but you're not getting things done, and you're letting this and who's texting you dictate how you're spending your day versus prioritizing what needs to happen and make that happen, right? I don't know if you guys can see that little thing up there. My office is a mess, but it says some people want it to happen, others make it happen, right? And so that make it happen, it's not talking about being a personality that bulldozes over people. To me, that is more about a mindset and priorities of things that are important to me. I make sure that I'm following through on what I said I was going to do. So I want you guys right now, first question. So what are your top 3 priorities in your personal life? So think through your personal life. What are your top 3 priorities right now? And sometimes when I do this, I look at it in, what are my top 3 priorities that I want for the next 3 months? Or what are my top 3 priorities that I want in the next year? Whatever fits for you, okay? Whatever that is for you. What are your top 3 priorities in your personal life? So is it your family? Is it your social life? I'm going to put music on, but I want you guys to tell me in the chat if it's getting too loud or distracting. Your top 3 priorities in your personal life. Is it maybe to lose weight, get out of debt? Maybe it's relationships. Maybe you need to rekindle a relationships. Maybe you guys need to forgive. Maybe it's getting closer to God, like Sherry just said. And feel free, you guys, like this can definitely be interactive. This is about you. If you want to share at all, any time during this, you can definitely throw it in the chat. As soon as you guys are done with that, what are your top 3 priorities for your Emrys business? Okay, what are your top 3 priorities right now? And just so you guys know, this isn't goals. If your goal is director, your priority is not director. Okay, that's your goal. Your priority is enrolling brand ambassadors, getting those to executive. Maybe it's focusing on social media. Maybe it is honing a skill for Emrys. Maybe it's just using the products, whatever that is, okay? What are your top 3 priorities right now for Emrys? Crushing goals. I love that, Jenny. That's awesome. Okay, the next thing I want you guys to write down is there's going to be days when it's hard. There's going to be days that life hits you and things happen. Somebody dies in your family, you get sick, you just wake up not feeling like you, right? But those are your top 3 priorities, right? You just listed those out. And so what is something that you can go back to? What is something that you can say to yourself when life hits you and you get in that funk that's going to keep you going forward? Maybe it's an affirmation. Maybe you just need to write down, move, right? Maybe it's get going. Maybe it's you're worth it. Maybe it's you deserve this. Maybe it's your why. Maybe you write your kids' name at the top of your paper, right? But what is that one thing that when you want to quit any of your priorities that you can look at and instantly be able to start retraining your brain to move through it and move forward? I love that, Amy. Maybe it's a Bible verse. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I'll tell you guys, there's a couple of things that I do, and one of them is music. Depending on the mood I'm in, if I'm mad, pissed off, upset, irritated, maybe I'm in a self-pity mode, I have certain playlists that are ready to go for myself that I can get myself out of a mood. And sometimes it does just start with praising God, of just releasing everything and just being in that moment of prayer to be able to move me through it. Okay, guys, so let's talk about your routine and schedule, what that looks like, because you just said what your priorities are, but without some actual intention behind it, sometimes our priorities kind of get moved to the wayside, right? And so we all need to be filled up. We need to feel empowered. We need to be poured into. We need to be focused. We need to be clear-minded. We need to be intentional about those areas to be able to navigate through that. Right? So those are all things that are super important. Yet sometimes for me, and I'll tell you guys, I'm the last priority. Myself is the last priority. I've been struggling. I've been texting with a couple of friends today, just going, I need to get like eating under control. I've gained 25 pounds in the last year. It's ridiculous, you guys. And I got to a point where I was like, I'm 36. It's okay. No, it's not okay, because it's just lack of discipline and just me being lazy by not getting my butt to the gym and figuring out and making better choices when it comes to food. So that for me is self-care. So hold on one second. Let me just click mute all. Okay, looks like I did it. So your self-development and your self-care is like number one priority for you guys. So figure out what that looks like for you. Maybe it's every day in the morning you read affirmations. Maybe it's every day you listen to a sermon, you get on, you read, you do a devotional, whatever that is for you to feel poured into and poured out, especially as leaders. And every single one of you that is on here is a leader. Just so you guys know, you may have nobody on your team yet because you just started, but that's okay. You are a leader and you deserve this and you are worth it, which means you deserve to be poured into. I don't know how many of you guys have seen Rachel Hollis's Rise that's on Amazon. Right there, that's a great self-development for you. But she talked about how a lot of times as women, and I know there's men on here, I can't attest to what it feels like to be a man, okay? So just bear with me. If you're a man on this, you have women in your life. So just know, relate to us for a minute that this is how we feel. As women, we feel like we need to pour out to everybody else. And if you think of yourself as a vase full of water, what happens? Yes, there is. Okay, it is really loud. All right, thank you for telling me that. I'm going to push pause then on it. Okay, is that better? I was hoping somebody would give me some feedback. I didn't know if you guys were liking the background noise or if it was too loud. All right. So as women, we feel like a vase and there's water in this vase, right? It's a clear vase, but everybody around us, we're like pouring it all out. Well, what happens when a vase tips over? It falls, right? And it crashes. Where if we just stood still and allowed the water to be poured in us, what would happen? The vase would start overflowing and that water would flow into everybody. And ever since I heard that, I've always thought, wow, like, why is that so hard for me? Like, why is it so hard for me to be poured into or allow myself and put myself on my own schedule during the day of making sure that I'm taking care of me, to make sure that I'm the best mom, I'm the best wife, I'm the best friend, I'm the best leader that I can be for all of those people around me. When you just give, you guys, we're not martyrs. It is not cool to hustle your way through life to make it look like you're the hardest working person around you. I know sometimes on social media it looks like that, but that's not cool. That's not glamorous. That's not how I want to live my life. I want to impact change. I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference in people's lives. And I can't do that if I'm not filled up first, right? So make sure that you guys put yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit on your own calendar, and that you have some sort of routine with it where when you're starting to feel out of whack, out of check, that you can get back on track. Okay. So, okay, another thing to help you guys just kind of create a routine and a schedule that also helps with your mindset is I used to call it winning the day. How are you winning the day? And then I got to meet Tammy Evans, and Tammy talks a little bit about measure of the day. So that is one thing, you guys. How many of you have like a laundry list of to-dos? You have so many things on your, to-do list. And even if you knock off like 10 of them, you go to bed feeling like you didn't accomplish anything, even though you did, right? And so a couple of years ago, I started to figure out, how can I win the day? How can I go to bed tonight and feel productive, and that I moved my business forward or moved my life forward? What did that look like for me? So that way I knew that I had a good mindset about feeling good about myself, feeling successful, right? Because how many times do we start feeling like, oh, a failure or miserable, or somebody said no to us today, and it starts eating away at our self-confidence. And so for you, I want each of you to figure out, what is your measure of the day? How can you win the day? What are your non-negotiables that you must do every single day? So when you put your head on your pillow, you feel either good about your life or productive in your business. All right, if you guys are muted or not muted, please make sure you guys are muted. Okay, so for me, you guys, it's very simple. I thought to myself, if I was sick, if I didn't feel good, if I had a migraine, if I got the cold or whatever, when you're just not at your best, how can I still win the day that day? And I made a list of just some non-negotiables for myself that even on my worst day, I could still move forward. All right. So not necessarily right now, but what are those things for you? I want you to either write down win the day or measure of the day and circle back around to that and come up with that. And maybe that's something that you guys can do with you and your teams, is know what their, measure of the day or winning the day looks like. Because that is about your mindset. If you're not feeling good about yourself, your business, you start letting those lies creep in, and then it starts affecting the next day and the next day and the next day. Or if you can go to bed every single night going, you know what? I won the day today. I did what I said I was going to do, and I feel good. It's just going to make you start being addicted to that feeling. You're going to want to wake up the next morning with that exact same feeling. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to win the day faster, and you're going to start doubling your efforts to make sure that you do it even more. All right. Okay. So let's talk through affirmations. So it's really easy to get motivated or inspired or feeling good, but it's really hard to stay motivated. What I call that is, it's hard to be disciplined, because that's really what it is. You can't motivate other people, and it's really hard for you to be self-motivated. I think like 1% of the population is considered self-motivated. But how many times you get goosebumps, or you get on a Zoom, or you hear Matthew or Aspen or Eileen talk, or you hear a really good podcast or a sermon, and you're like all inspired and excited and ready to go take on the world. Or maybe you just spent time with a leader and you're feeling so good and so close to them, but then bam, life happens, right? So to me, okay, somebody told me one time when I was like getting ready to like work out, and I'm like, oh, I just don't feel like it. And she's like, well, nobody ever feels like it. Like, it doesn't feel good to work out, Ashley. Even if you're a bodybuilder and you're, pumping iron, it doesn't feel good. It actually hurts, right? It physically hurts to do something like that. It doesn't feel good to run a mile or run a marathon. You guys, you watch marathons, you see their faces, they're in agony, they're in pain. It doesn't feel good, but they're doing it not out of motivation, but out of discipline. Okay, so retraining your brain and starting to have those affirmations and getting disciplined is definitely something that it takes some time to start doing. So find affirmations, find daily reminders that keep you feeling inspired and energized towards whatever goal it is that you want. So keep it by your desk. I have a letter. Aspen wrote this to me at Director Summit, you guys. She wrote, Steph and I both won, a letter to each of us. This is on my desk. I read it all the time because I need to be reminded of who I am, because sometimes those lies start creeping in, right? So there's a couple of different apps that you guys can use if you don't like writing stuff. There's an app called Think Up. And I'll type it in the chat. This one's really cool because you can actually record your own voice, saying affirmations, saying I am statements, starting to talk through that. And then the other one that I love, let me find it real quick. What is it called? Affirm It. And this one is really cool because it has different categories, and you guys can pick whatever category it is in your life at that moment that you want to work on or you want affirmations on, and you can save them, you can keep them, you can create folders. And so every morning you can have like your daily affirmations, or say you're getting ready to go on a big run for your business, you can have one of those. Or maybe, I know for me, like when we're a blended family, so that means I'm a stepmom, I have stepkids. When it's all 5 of us, it can be challenging at times. And there's times where I need to pray more and I need to write some affirmations down to get myself ready and in that space so where I can be the best mom that I can be. Just being completely honest with you guys, okay? So affirmations are huge. Verses, maybe you're somebody that has a few verses written down. Those are your affirmations, okay? I have a couple, and I'm going to share them with you because these 3 always remind me to watch what I'm speaking and watch what I'm thinking about. Words kill or words give life. They're either poison or fruit. You choose. Proverbs 18:21. Okay, there's life and death in the tongue. The next one is God is within her. She will not fail. All right. Psalms 46:5. So that's when I'm starting to feel scared about something. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only good for building up. Ephesians 4:29. That's one I struggle with. I need to always be reminded that I need to be uplifting and not allow negativity or negative thoughts to come at me. Sometimes it's coming at you from your team. Don't play into that. You don't have to affirm what they're saying if they're being negative, right? Denise Walsh taught me one time, you need to be like, instead of a sponge and letting all of this stuff come into you, be more like a bouncy ball and let it, like all their drama and all their negativity, just kind of, you can hear it and let it bounce right off of you. So that's one that's always been a really good verse for me. Okay, so let's move on to reflecting. So I'm going to ask you guys a bunch of questions now, okay? So let's reflect back on 2019. Please repeat the Ephesians verse. Sorry. It was Ephesians 4:29. Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only good for building up. Okay. So let's reflect on 2019 for a minute, because one way to come up with goals and to know where you're going is to examine that last year, be grateful for where you are, but know where it is that you're going. So let's have some fun for a minute. Okay. So this is where I was going to write or listen to some music for you guys, but if it's too loud, that's okay. So what are your favorite memories from 2019? What were some of your favorite things that you did in 2019? Favorite memories, maybe favorite trip. This is where you guys can just kind of start journaling, jotting a few things down. You definitely can throw it in the chat, but I want you guys to be able to leave this Zoom with these on paper so you can see them. Okay. Oh, you had a son. Oh, congrats. So favorite memories from 2019. Maybe you went on a special trip. What are 3 things that you're grateful for from 2019? 3 different things that you're grateful for. Oh, I'm grateful for all of you guys, for this business to come into our lives, right? For CBD, honestly, I am so freaking grateful for CBD, and it's not what I thought it was. I thought we were all going to jail. I'm so grateful for that. So grateful we're not sitting in jail right now. 3 things you're grateful for from 2019. Oh, I love that, Christy. Oh, congrats, Marsha. I lost 30 pounds. That is awesome. Only 3, somebody said. No. Jot down as many as you guys can think of. And like I said, these are just things for you guys to come back to. I'm just trying to give you guys just some people do have a hard time coming up with certain things. So God's grace, had my miracle baby. Oh, I love these, you guys. Okay, what's one hard lesson you learned in 2019? Maybe you learned a couple, but what's one hard lesson you learned? Maybe it's an area you messed up and you're moving through it. Maybe something happened to you, and through that, you learned through it. Maybe you're still learning through it. Not everyone in your circle is your real friend. So true. So true. To not let people walk all over you and to stand up for yourself. Forgiveness. Love it, you guys. Okay. Where did you let fear stop you in your tracks in 2019? Maybe it was a moment that happened. Maybe it was a goal that you had and you let a limiting belief of yourself come over you. Honestly, I talked to somebody the other day that they were like, yeah, somebody talked to me about this business, but I was not in a place in my life. I was scared and I didn't join for a couple of months. She's like, I'm kicking myself. I'm like, well, first of all, you're still in a great spot. We're only 7 months into this thing. But still, maybe it was you're sitting there thinking, I wish I would have said yes to Emerus when I was first told about it, right? Where'd you let fear stop you in your tracks? Not reaching out to people when I had the opportunity to spread joy. Yeah. I feel like we all could probably say we're guilty of something like that, you know? What are you leaving behind in 2019? What is one thing that you are not carrying with you anymore into 2020? What are you leaving behind? Fear, self-doubt, laziness, distractions. Fear, 80 pounds. JD literally is leaving behind 80 pounds, you guys. She already lost it. Negative self-talk. Love that, Danae. Guilt. Oh, love it. You know something interesting about guilt? This is a lesson I've learned. Anytime I'm starting to feel guilty, I immediately take that thought captive and I say, you know what? God is not a God of guilt and condemnation, but conviction. Do I have something to be convicted of here? Sometimes the answer is yes, a resounding yes. Sometimes the answer is no. And I know that then that thought is not from him and I need to move past it, right? So just something, a little tidbit for you guys, because I deal with guilt all the time, daily sometimes, right? Lack of self-love, that you're not worth it, procrastination, limiting belief in yourself, your past. All right, I love it, you guys. We are leaving so much junk behind us. What is one thing that you would have maybe done differently last year? What's an area that you can look back on and reflect and say, you know what? I would have done this and it would have led to this, right? What is one area that you would have done differently? Joined Emerus sooner. Quit smoking. Being a better leader. Well, Brittany, we all are right there with you, girlfriend. We're all learning that. All right. This was an interesting question for me. What were some time suckers that drained your energy from last year? Maybe it was people, maybe it was situations, maybe you walk into your job. What drains you? What drains your energy? Chemo, literally. Grieving, people. You guys, this is a really important one to know. And some of these questions are not easy. They're kind of hard. But you've got to answer them in order to know like how to move forward. Drama, when people treat you like you're not worth it. Radiation. Yeah, trying to spread your time against 6 kids. Those draining situations, sometimes, like I was telling to a group of people last night when we were talking about the circle of our friends that we hang out with, I was like, yeah, there's people in my life that because like some of them are family, I can't get them. It's not like I can divorce my sister, right? Or my brother or my dad. Like, but I can decide how much time I choose to hang out with them, and I can prep my brain before I'm with them, things like that. Guilt, your health. Okay. Let's move on to the next 2 questions, which are more fun. When or how did you have the most fun last year? What was the most fun that you had last year? Emrys Live, oh, I love it. It was a blast. Yacht cruise, Mexico, conference. You guys remember this. If Emrys, any part of Emrys is a part of that, think of those people in your life that are like social butterflies and that just love to have fun. Not everybody joins businesses like this for money. Okay. Next question. This one's my favorite. Tubing down the river even in a storm. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Okay. What was your biggest accomplishment or some area in your life that you feel so proud from last year? What makes you look back and feel proud? What was an accomplishment? What was something that you accomplished last year? Joining Emrys. It's funny, I was just thinking going 2-star director during the holidays. In every single company I've ever been a part of, my volume dropped in half in November, then dropped in half again in December. And it is insane for me to think that our volume went up as a team. I know there's other teams on here, but to me, that was a huge accomplishment. And I think, oh, but that happened in January. That didn't happen last year. Graduating college, needing to make a change, year of restoration. Love that. Becoming a mother again, losing weight, led a women's conference. You guys, these are so awesome. Making it to 1-star, finishing an outdoor kitchen, spent all last year stuck out of loyalty, finally let it go, gain self-worth. Oh, you guys did so much good last year. Think of all of these things that you guys can just build upon now. All right. Are we ready to dream? Are we ready to look ahead now? Look ahead to 2020 and start dreaming a little bit? Okay. So in order to do that, I'm going to ask you guys some questions. And those of you that are in Michigan, if you haven't got your ticket to Dream Space this weekend, you need to do that. My friends and an incredible, incredible lady, Denise Walsh, and I are putting on an event here that is going to be all centered around dreaming. And I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. Yes, Sherry, I'm so excited. That is awesome. Okay, so dreaming, looking ahead for 2020. Okay, name 3 places you guys want to go this year. Okay, in 2020, name 3 places you want to go. And feel free to name 5 or 10, but at least 3. 3 places you want to go. Hawaii. Oh, I want to go back to Hawaii. Yes, geographically. Yes. Well, that's up to you. You guys are answering these questions. All right. Name 2 ways you can help others this year. And 2 ways you can help others this year. Tell others about God. I love that, Jackie. serve at church more. Okay. 2 ways that you can help others. 1 thing you want to get better at. 1 thing you want to get better at this year. Confidence. Spread happiness and joy. Pay it forward. Serving others. You guys are so awesome. I love your hearts. 1 thing you can get better at. Leading by example. Hayden, I love that. Putting Jesus first. Okay. 2 things you're looking forward to this year. What are 2 things you're looking forward to? More money. Elevate and Emrys Live. I can't wait for those events. They're going to be incredible. Director Summit. I can't wait for Director Summit. Being a better form of myself. Family vacation. Love it. Okay, guys. 2 new things you want to try. I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the hardest questions I ever have to answer, and it's also where I know I need to grow because I am a creature of habit, and I don't like to do things I don't already know I'm good at. And so I have a hard time trying new things because I don't want to fail. That's just like part of my personality, but it's also something that I just know that I need to push myself because you can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. And so doing something for the first time is scary and it pushes you out of your comfort zone and you can grow through that. Skydiving, snowboarding, getting organized, serving at a shelter and serving at a church, Facebook Lives. So true. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to move forward. So this next activity is one of my favorite things that I've ever done to get in a space of dreaming, because I've always had a hard time with that, right? We all have strengths and we all have weaknesses and we all have things about our personality that make us incredible. And I've never really it's never been a strength of mine of like vision casting. I've had to like work at it. And the very first time I ever had to do like a dream board, I had the hardest time with it. And this activity was so huge, and I have it saved on a note on my phone, and it's ever changing. Okay. So it's called the 30 things activity. So I want you to write down 30 things, and I'll type this and repeat it. 30 things you want to be, 30 things you want to do, and 30 things you want to have. So maybe you make a list on a piece of paper that says be, do, have, or 3 columns. Be, do, have. 30 things you want to do, 30 things you want to be, and 30 things you want to have. Okay? So now when you start thinking of those things, think of them in areas of family, friends, personal growth and development, your faith, your finances, your career, Emrys, romance, fun, recreation, hobbies, giving, your health, fitness, your physical environment. Try to think about what you want to see, try, own, or visit. Okay? So I'll tell you, when I first started this, the B was the hardest. 30 things I want to be. I was like, well, I want to be a vice president. I want to be, and then I literally just got stuck, right? I was like, I want to be in shape. I also want to be more present with my family. I also want to be patient. I also want to be like a listening ear, right? So think about those kind of things. Not all of them have to have like a tangible thing attached to it. The 30 things you want to be, do, and have. Think about what you want to see, what you want to try, what you want to own, what you want to visit. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a minute just to kind of start journaling some of these things. And then I'm telling you, it's so hard. I think when I actually spent like 20 minutes on it, I didn't have more than 10 or 15 things on each list. Maybe you're somebody that like, and you can just like jot it all down, but this will definitely be something that you guys want to circle back around to and work on. And like I said, save it to a note on your phone. Curious, I could share some of my things with you guys if I can pull it up and find it. 30 things. I think it's under dream. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so I did this in the areas of health, family, work, and hobbies. So like things I want to have, hair extensions, done, check, got that. I want to have a boat. I want to have an outdoor kitchen and fireplace. I want a housekeeper. I want season tickets to MSU. Okay, 30 things I want to be. Some of the things I wrote down: present, consistent, an amazing mom, a loving wife. I want to be a leader. I want to be strategic and influential and committed and confident and motivating and disciplined. I want to be, I wrote, creates urgency. I want to be encouraged. I want to be a dreamer. I want to be a connector. 30 things I want to do. I want to lift weights again. I want to go to the beach whenever I want. I want to travel where we want. I want to stay in a hut in Tahiti on the water. I want to fly first class. Some of these things I'm keeping to myself. So anyways, those should just give you guys a couple of different ideas. All right, let's move on. Okay. So part of dreaming also, and part of being able to goal set and push forward and have a good mindset, is knowing what your why is. If you guys haven't read the book, or I downloaded on Audibles, but It Starts With Why by Simon Sinek, it was one of the best books that I ever read in my entire life. And it's not written from like a network marketing perspective. I know so many of us like talk about that. You got to have a why. You got to figure out what your why is, right? But it is all business. It is all everything in life. It should start with why. Why are you doing something? Okay. I also think that this is a hard thing for people to kind of wrap their brains around. You might know why you said yes to Emrys. You could probably list off those, and you might have like a very immediate why, like you need an extra $500, right? But for me, whys are always just buried. Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions so you can start brainstorming and thinking through this. So the first step to getting what you want, you just listed out 30 things you want to be, do, and have. First step in getting what you want is actually knowing exactly why you want it. Okay, so what's important to you? What is important to you? And you guys just journal. It doesn't have to be like complete thoughts. You can write like family, my business, my health, my finances, whatever. What's important to you? My faith. What are you passionate about? What excites you? What makes you excited? What like sets your soul on fire? If you know you're going to do something, you're like, yes, I'm so excited. I can't wait to do that, right? So many of you guys even just said Emrys Live, Elevate, like you're excited. What about Emrys Live and Elevate makes you excited? Is it the people? Is it leadership? Is it connecting? Is it leaving your house for a couple of days? Like, what is it that excites you? How do you want people to remember you? What would be, if you could be a fly in the wall and somebody was talking about you, what would you want them saying about you? What do you enjoy doing? This is a fun one. If you could close your eyes and design your dream day, what would that look like? Where would you be? How would you wake up? Who would be with you? What would you do during the day? What would your dream day look like? Okay. So these next two things go like a little bit more in depth of figuring out, even just kind of like more of like if you had a personal mission statement, right? Who are you? What are things that represent you? What makes you you? When people think of you, what would they say? Are you a mom? Are you a dad? Or are you the crazy cat lady? Are you a real estate agent? Are you that crazy girl in Emirates, right? Like, who are you? What do you stand for? What are things that are so important to you that you stand up and you're loud about it? You speak about it. You feel passionate about it. What do you stand for? Who do you feel called to serve? Okay, these next two questions are kind of similar, but they're very different. So I'll say both of them at the same time. What do you want to be known for? And what do you want to be known as? What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for your leadership? Do you want to be known for your heart? What do you want to be known for? What accolades, what things in your life do you want to accomplish? What do you want to be known as? What are those things about you that you definitely want people to, when they're with you, to know about you? What impact do you want to leave on them? What do you want to be known for, and what do you want to be known as? So 10 years ago, I went to a conference, and they did this next activity with me, and it was probably one of the most intense things I think I've ever done, because it really did help me create like people talk about, oh, what do you want your dream life to look like? And like I said, I've always been like, well, I don't know. I want to wake up on a beach, my family. So this was something that got me really like, okay, this is what I want. Now I need to go after it now that I've figured it out. So I'm going to ask you guys, what is the best you in a couple of different areas? So what would, if everything was perfect in your life and you were living your best life in that area, okay? What would the best you look like spiritually? For me, I'll tell you guys, because sometimes it's kind of hard to think of things. For me, it was finding a church, going to church every week, getting my butt out of bed every single Sunday, finding a women's Bible study, finding a couple's Bible study, praying, doing devotionals. Like the best me spiritually would be doing all of those things, right? So for you, write down what that looks like. What does the best you spiritually look like? And I'm going to move through this kind of quickly. You guys are going to probably have to circle back around to this because this exercise probably needs like 10, 15 minutes of attention. So I want you guys to be able to get these and then work on it. What does the best you physically look like? And I don't mean like you're a size 2. I mean, physically, how do you want to feel? For me, I would be vegan again. I felt the best when I was vegan. I was working out 3 to 4 times a week. I was running. I was training for a triathlon. I was taking care of myself. I would get my nails done regularly. That's the best me physically. I feel good about myself when my nails are done, right? So think about those things that make you the best you. What does that look like? Socially, what is you living your best life socially? Is it having a girls' night once a month? Is it having a date night with your spouse once a week? Is it having a couples night? Is it having just you time once a month? Is it getting your hair done? Is it what socially? Is it going on a girls' trip? Is it going on? What does your best you look like socially? Financially, economically, meaning like maybe finances. What does your best you look like? Debt free, what does that look like for you? And giving back, okay? Maybe it's your time, maybe it is your finances, but what is the best you? What does that look like? If you were living your best life, the most disciplined, how much money would you be making? How much money would you be giving back? What would you be doing with your money? Would you be out of debt? So when I did this, it was really eye-opening for me because I was like, holy cow, you're able to see all the holes in your life and exactly what you need to change, because it's like, wow, yeah, I'm not prioritizing that right there, but I'm listing that out as that would be the best me if I was doing that. So why am I not doing that? It's kind of a kick in the butt, right? So let's talk about goal setting, okay? We're going to move on to goal setting. So there's 2 different things. Anytime I've ever had a goal for myself that I've always wrote down, and some of you guys will totally know this. There's the RPM method, rapid planning method, okay? R stands for results oriented. Every goal should be results oriented. I'll put these in the chat. Every goal should have a P, purpose driven. And every goal needs an M, a massive action plan in order to get it done. And then this is the one that I'm sure you guys have heard about, SMART goals. So every time you guys make a goal, make sure it's SMART, okay? It is specific and significant to you. It's measurable and meaningful. It's obtainable, achievable, and action-oriented. It's relevant, realistic, and rewarding. It's time-bound, timely, trackable, meaning you've got a date on it, right? So as you guys are starting to think of your goals, think of those 2 different acronyms, RPM and SMART, and making sure that your goal has all of those pieces in it, okay? Then the next time, anytime I'm ever asking myself about a goal, I ask myself 3 questions. Why do I really want this? Okay, or I'm sorry, what do I really want? Okay, what do I really want? Why do I want this? That's your purpose. And why do I need it? Why do I need to do this? If this is a goal and I really want it, why do I need to do it? And that's when you guys go create your massive action plan. Because when you can answer all 3 of those questions, the next thing that happens is you should have a duty, an obligation, and a responsibility to go get it done. If you were to treat every single goal, okay, think about this. I just got off a call with somebody tonight mapping out director for them over the next 4 weeks. If you say, my goal's director, I'm going to the summit. Are you making it your duty, your obligation, and your responsibility to go director? Or are you just hoping you go director? Are you just seeing what happens? Are you just hoping people join your team and hoping they get to work and hoping maybe they go sell a couple bottles of CBD and hoping that you can get a couple people to executive? Or are you making it your duty, your responsibility, and your obligation to go get it done? Those are those three things, duty, obligation, or responsibility, that keep me up at night. What I mean by that is when I say I'm going to do something, like if I don't have those three words behind it, it's just a hope. It's not really, it's a dream. It's not a goal. It's a hope. It's a dream. It's an aspiration. If you don't put duty, responsibility, and obligation towards a goal, it is not a goal. You're not actually trying to go get it done. You're hoping it happens. You're aspiring. Sounds good. Sounds fun. That sounds great. I'd love to be director. That sounds like a great income for me, right? But it's not actually your goal if you're not making it your duty, responsibility, and obligation. Okay, so the next thing, you guys, is as you're running towards some sort of goal, one, accountability is so huge. And I'm not talking about an accountability partner, because sometimes some different personality types don't work well with an accountability partner. But if you're not telling somebody what your goal is, if you're not leading from the front and telling your team what your goal is, you're robbing them and you from being a part of something bigger. If I were to tell you guys, when I was running for 2-star director, I told my team 4 weeks before it was going to happen that I was doing it, that I was running towards it and going after it, right? Like, I needed that accountability. I needed people to ask me how it was going. I needed people to be like, are we close? Like, what's happening with that, right? That held me accountable. Like, if you're losing weight and you don't tell anybody, it's easy to go pull through McDonald's when nobody's looking, right? But when you have accountability with somebody, you make better choices. So accountability is huge when you're running towards a goal, and rewarding yourself, making little rewards for yourself. If you sign a brand ambassador or sign in a VIP customer towards your goal, like, reward that. I'm not saying take a day off. I'm saying go sit in the bubble bath, go read a book, go do something for you to make it feel like, okay, I want to go do that again. And allow yourself time to do that, and maybe don't do it when you're not working on those, behaviors for you. Set up those things to reward yourself. All right, so I just wrote down a couple of different things. So goal achievement takes a lot of work, especially with massive goals of financial freedom. Okay, most of us on here are in Emrys to make money, right? There might be other reasons why we love it and other reasons why we do it. Maybe it's community, but I know most of you, it's because you want some sort of financial freedom in your life. All right, so a massive goal, or that huge goal, it takes massive amounts of personal development, of action towards that, but it also takes a lot of belief. Okay, belief that you're worthy of the goals that you've set, that they're obtainable for you, that you'll get there, right? If you stop believing in the goals that you've set for yourself, you stop doing the work. And the bigger, overreaching goals for yourself start completely just going away, where then you quit. Just completely give up on your goals, okay? So having them, like I said, having that accountability and rewarding yourself pushes you forward. That motion creates emotion type of thing. All right, so let's set some intention. We're going to start closing out the Zoom. Let's set some intention for 2020. I want you guys to set an intention, not a goal, because you need to really dig into some of those, but some intention. Just start journaling some words. What is a personal intention for you for 2020? Maybe it's a hobby, a skill, maybe it's in your faith or your character, but what's like a personal goal or a personal intention that you want to have for 2020? What is an intentional goal for Emrys in 2020? What's an intention physically for yourself, financially, and then your family or a relationship? Okay, I'll write those down. So I want you guys to think of a personal, an Emrys, a physical, a financial, and a relationship goal / intention for 2020. We're going to close this up with talking about your word of the year. So some of you might have already picked a word of the year, which is great, okay? For me, that word is something that when I feel like I'm giving up, or I don't feel like myself, or I feel like I'm allowing limiting beliefs to come in, that one word can pull me back, stamp me out, keep me focused on what my goals are for the whole year. And sometimes, you guys, I pick words that are really inspiring and exciting. Sometimes I've picked words of an area in my life that I need to work on. So not last year, but the year before, it was discipline. Okay, so sometimes it's an area, it's one word where you know that that's your intention of the year. So what are you going to say yes to more often in 2020 to live on purpose? To live your best life? What are things and areas of your life that you can say yes? Be as bold as you can, you guys, when you're starting to like write this list, because those words matter. The things that you say you're going to do, that you're going to say yes to, it matters. All right. They'll help you make decisions and how to use your time on purpose instead of by accident, if you know where you're going to say yes to. So how I start trying to figure out what my word is I just start journaling. Like, what are a few words that just really resonate with you? Look back over all of these questions that you're asking yourself. What are words that you've written down that really resonate with you? Grab a dictionary, figure out what that word means, find the origin of it. Is that meaningful to you? Look up some Bible verses, go on Pinterest, type that word in, write that word with a quote, word with a Bible verse, and see what other things start coming to mind for you. Choose the word that inspires you the most to guide you through this year. Okay? So for me, my word is more. For a while, and I got it during conference, when we were there, I really wanted the word to be like abundantly more or exceedingly more. So it's just going to be more because I can't have abundantly, exceedingly more as my word of the year. So it's more. In every area of my life this year, I need to do more. I need to be more, and I am doing it through him who gives me strengths, because that is his promise over my life, is that he can do abundantly and exceedingly more than I can even think, ask, or imagine. And so I am praying that over my life this year. When I'm starting to feel doubt or fear that I can't do something, I know that I can. I know that I can go do it. And I know that I can do more than the things I'm scared of, right? So that's my word for the year. Those are things that are super meaningful to me. So my prayer for you guys is that your word for that year, and if you guys have your word, I'd love for you to throw it in the chat, okay? Because I want to help inspire people and get excited. And share these with you guys. I'm going to post something on our team page. Other leaders, feel free to do the same thing, where I'm going to ask what your word is. And I'd love for you guys to post it, because I want to start praying over those for you guys. So just some of the words that are coming in the chat is growth, renewal, faith, refine, believe, brave, faithfully, win, action. Oh, I love these. Some of the other ones I heard in Nebraska were intention or intentional. I loved that one. I heard somebody say that discipline was their word this year. Prosperity. That is awesome. Bloom. Oh my gosh, what an awesome word. Restoration. Oh, that's a good word. That is a good word. Preserve. Awesome. Okay, you guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit stop recording.